Hello, welcome to today's video. It's just gonna be modeling, doing again very simple model of Microsoft. Like one of my friends apparently is playing the Elder Scrolls currently, so it is a bit humorous in my view to be playing this, because after all, Microsoft did purchase excuse me, of course Microsoft did purchase Bethesda Studios, which of course develops what's the guy's name? Not Tim Sweeney. Todd Phillips. Yeah, Todd Phillips. Microsoft employee. So, anyways, but no, it's again to the point that like you don't really have a divergent view on, say, Microsoft, right? Just because it's right. Who has a negative outlook on on Microsoft, right? You let me know. Hey, let me know if you have a negative view of Microsoft. And of course, you can be bearish about valuation, the valuation of a company, right? Like that is why, after all, you build these models in the first place, right? To be a bit more precise, if you want to with your model. But again, like something like Microsoft, right? Especially Microsoft, it's very hard to, or not very hard. Of course, you can come up with negative DC points, but wouldn't necessarily be the most compelling. Wouldn't necessarily be the most compelling discussion points, right? Like I'm bearish on Microsoft and why? It's like, well, not the valuation, but I think that Microsoft is in a cyclically declining industry. And not sure how convincing that is to argue that Microsoft is in a cyclically declining industry. Yeah, apologies for the lulls in discussion. I'm just skipping ahead, just adding in the cash value, debt value for enterprise value. Well, I guess the order is a bit messed up, but in the previous video I talked about what enterprise value is. And so cash, Microsoft has 130 billion. 130 billion dollars in cash, which is I'm not an expert, but a pretty big number if you ask me. Of course, that's just in cash. That's in the cash equivalents. That's not including receivables or actual assets like net property, plants, equipment, PPE, or goodwill. So from a cash to total liabilities basis, Microsoft is theoretically like it's higher than one times, but again, of course, right? It's only cash, and so it's not the full picture. Right. Gosh, there we go. Here, just like there's, of course, you have like total revenue, top line revenue. If you're making a more professional DCF, you would break it out into its individual segments of like of if you're like for example, if you're like say you're a Take-Two Interactive, you have like your own video game studios and the titles they publish, and you also, if you're Take-Two, you have a publishing arm, and so you take like, and so you publish games, and so you have one revenue segment that would be like game sales. You have another segment for publishing royalties, and then you might have say like another thing for live services, right? And then you have like X, Y, and then you have that for your for that, right? So, of course, and then of course you have revenue, which is X plus Y plus Z, and so of course ultimately like this is what matters if you in the sense of in that sense, but of course it does help, especially if you want to be more detailed, to dive into here of what the X is, what the Y is, what the Z is, and then make projections to what is Z in 10 years, right? But it won't be. I have to do some more messing around with Excel to get to that. But just as a start base, just actually let me delete this. Let's try to be a bit professional. So for products, which includes hardware and all of that. I haven't read the 10K, so and because of that, so in the sense like I'm doing it in the wrong direction. Like I should read a 10K, then build a model. But I think again, Microsoft, like it's such a good company that that you can take it. And again, it's not like I'm pitching this. It's not like I'm gonna act and treat this as like definitive, whichever way it goes. Again, just an exercise is something to stream, something to talk about. I haven't been most productive days. Hopefully, this will kick me in gear to be a bit more productive with you guys after this stream. So, yeah, we probably won't get to Spotify today. I think I'll save that for another content idea. Right, but 71 billion product revenue and its service 97014. So 71 billion, 97 billion, and then we can sum it and project it out. Okay, and so the model I did 10% from a previous model, but then of course, right, you don't keep everything. You have to you don't keep all the revenue, right? It's not like you sell something for $1, you get a whole buck, 100 cents back. No, of course you have stuff to pay to. If you're selling an apple, how much does it cost you to to buy the Apple seed, cost of goods sold, aka, which in Microsoft's case, 52232, so 52 billion. Which for a software company, right? So if the gross, of course it's negative. You don't add your cost of goods sold. Okay, so the gross margin is, so cost of goods sold is 31% of revenue. So the gross margin is 69%, right? Which means which is pretty good. I don't want to be an accounting professor, so I'm not gonna lecture on that. Next expense, R&D, right? Of course, Microsoft is a tech company, right? You think they'd be working on new products, maybe like some AR, VR headsets, like they are in with their HoloLens, I think is the name of their product line. Not sure if you guys can hear the keyboard, but Excel ASMR is a underappreciated market segment. Just the way this model works, I got from a club. I did not handcraft it. The model looks far better than it would if I made it. My Excel's my DCF would be much more slapdash. More like a Martin Shkreli type of Excel. Excuse me. Alright. Just had to send something to Twitch chat. Again, I'm streaming live on Twitch. Again, if I'm gonna record a video, I may as well, get the double platform exposure. SG&A. Again, I messed that up. Depreciation, amortization. $16,446. Right, again, like asset, well, not asset light, right? Of course, they have like 300 billion in assets, but to the degree of like, right, if it's such a big base, right? Because these numbers in this column, like the 3%, 12%, it's just coming out of this number. So. Sense that we'll come back to like the expense projections. Just want to get the full bonus. Like capital expenditure, Microsoft spent $20.6 billion on investments or various financing projects. Which is a lot, but does seem a bit higher than usual. So that's 12%. We can keep that 12. Like, again, right? Like again, the DCF is very imprecise, but to the degree that if you're overly cautious, you're discounting cash flows higher, or you're discounting cash flows more aggressively. If you're more aggressive about expenses in the future, less optimistic in less optimistic about future revenues and cash, more optimistic about negative aspects, then in that sense, like you're acquitting your head, you're protecting yourself, and that. So if there is upside to that, then that is a good thing. However, the model does not like what I've made. I must have messed up. Hey. What I just did right there is kind of like when the model doesn't work out the way you want it to, you tweak the numbers, and that's not really a good thing to do. Because it does kind of defeat the purpose, right, of why you're doing it. You think that for a 69% gross margin business, I guess if historical revenue growth for 2020, 2019, 2018, 14%. So if I think it's gotta be something with my my discount rate. I mean, EBIT. I guess there is something a bit pessimistic in the sense that if my EBIT, earnings before interest and tax, is only increasing by 3 billion this year. No, look at the circle ranges. I mean, like for marketing costs, stay at 12. Like I think, like looking at circle, that the numbers make sense. 168 billion. 184 billion. Again, this is where it would be very nice for to have read a 10K, or to read more to get management's assumptions about where the business is gonna go, like what management thinks is gonna happen. I haven't done that, and that'll be off stream. It is a bit hot. Like it is about over real fuel. about 100 degrees on the East Coast, and then basically my fan on because I don't want to mess up the mic quality. Yeah, this model, like, discounted free cash flow is only I guess it shows how important your first projection. But because if a discount cash flow means that money today is better than money tomorrow, then of course if I'm saying that money that is going to happen sooner is less than future money, future cash flows, and naturally my model is discounting even heavier. I mean, yeah, I mean, if Microsoft traded for whatever, like, just like everything they say, Microsoft traded at $170, like probably very aggressive position at Microsoft. But something went wrong, and I messed up somewhere. Maybe not messed up. I'm just a bit pessimistic in some regard. But it is a bit hot. I'm sweating a bit. But to summarize, sorry. Like, again, DCF, like, you're just making assumptions, right? Like, I think that revenue is going to be 10, 14, 14, 14, 14. I think that my cost of goods sold is going to stay constant. I think my SG&A will increase a bit. Already, again, like, say the same. And then, I mean, like, what? So, like, in this, like, what do I know? I know for sure that these numbers are what they are, because that's what the company is telling me. I know what debt and cash is, because again, that's what the company is telling me. But beyond that, and I know what this is because the market is telling me that, right? Mr. Market every day tells you how much he's willing to give you for a share, how much he's charging for a share, and of course, Mr. Market can change his mind whenever he chooses. So really, all I know is one number. I know number shares outstanding. So I know one number, two number, three number, four numbers, and then like 15. So I know, like, out of all of this, like, it's pretty much like your projection, like, it's like what you know for sure out of this entire model is like 19. And if you want to be more specific, you want to break down like your cost of goods sold between product and service, you can do that. And so you, of course, like, you can tweak it, but to capture to the idea that you only know so much, and so DCFs are imperfect things because, again, like, all you know for sure is basically these numbers and that cash, shares outstanding, and share price. Like, that's all you know. And to make an assumption about how much the business is going to make in 2026, and especially if you go into greater detail and like you go into specific line items of what the things are, again, it shows to the point that this is an imperfect science. And so, again, with great humility, with great acceptance of recognition of that imperfect science, then but again, right, you want to get a shot on goal, and at the very least, like, work through a model, reading the filings and statements will help paint a picture, and help you understand the business better. So, anyways, this is a shorter stream, but it is pretty hot today. But hey, thanks for watching, and continue to be safe. Hey, and let me know if you have a Microsoft model, if you disagree with any of my assumptions, or if I'm incredibly wrong with any of my assumptions. Let me know, or let me know what your weighted average cost of capital is. Or again, I'm very happy for any thoughts, especially when it comes to, again, something that's as imprecise and as subjective as DCF, right? For anything to this side of the line, very subjective. But thank you for watching this shorter stream, and continue to be safe.